LA's always evolving, and as it changes, what it's built from changes too. Made from mud and straw, adobe once formed nearly all of Southern California's buildings. But as LA grew, it turned to new materials like wood, iron, and concrete to shape the city and the way we live. I'm Nathan Masters, and this is Lost LA.
Many people see LA as a city of the future, a place without a past, a freeway metropolis that sprang up fully formed in the 20th century. But the roots of Southern California history run deep. People have called this land home for thousands of years, and their stories give us a richer understanding of where we are now and where we're headed in the decades to come. So let's look back and uncover some of these forgotten stories in the archives. Lost LA explores Southern California history by bringing archival materials to life.
LA's population exploded in the early 20th century. What was in 1900 a large town of 100,000 grew by 1930 into a metropolis of 1.2 million. But where would all these new Angelenos live? To house them, developers exploited the natural wealth of the Golden State, building countless single-family homes from a material both ancient and beautiful, the California redwood.
Today, if you think of Los Angeles, you think of like concrete, freeways, palm trees. You don't think of redwood at all. What most Angelenos don't know is that 100 years ago, redwood in California was used for basically everything. The story of the redwoods is not just about tree sitters and hippies and loggers and environmentalists and up there, way up north in Humboldt County. It's a California story that unites all parts of the state. The question is not where Californians would encounter redwood, but where would they not encounter redwood? Let's say if you were an Angeleno in the early 20th century and you want to go to the beach. So you would ride a trolley that's going on a rail that's on redwood ties. You are passing thousands of oil derricks. All those oil derricks are mostly made of redwood. You get to the beach, the boardwalk and the pier are made of redwood. If you look out at the port, that was probably largely built with redwood pilings. It was used as paving material, as sidewalk material. It was used for telegraph and telephone poles, as pencils, as toys, as boxes, as decking and siding and shingling and fencing material. It was basically used for all purposes. Californians, literally from cradle to grave, could be in redwood. I mean, many Californians in the early 20th century would have been rocked as babies in redwood cradles. And then in the mid-20th century, it was very common to be buried 6 feet under in redwood caskets that were advertised by lumber companies and funeral homes as everlasting wood, right? Bury your loved ones in everlasting wood.
When the earliest settlers came to California in the 1840s, 1850s for the gold rush, they found a forest that had been growing here for millions of years, with trees that were over 2,000 years old. They found this spectacular forest and thought it went on forever. And they thought it would be a resource that would supply the growing communities of California in perpetuity. And so a tree here and a tree there led to the dramatic clear-cutting of most of the ancient redwood forest.
In the early decades of redwood logging, they were just like extracting from the forest a little bit of each tree and just completely wasting the rest. So it meant leaving an enormous stump, and they didn't even deal with the top part with all the branches. They're just interested in the lower like third of the tree that had the best wood. So they would cut down the tree, and then they would just burn the whole forest. It was literally slash and burn.
The original range of the coast redwood forest was 2.2 million acres. Through the settlement of California, building roads, building farms, building cities, that 2.2 million acres shrunk to the point that there is only just about 120,000 acres of ancient redwood forest left.
When Los Angeles became a largely Anglo city in the late 19th century, there was a decisive shift towards wood as the architectural material of choice, because old-growth redwood is the perfect wood. It's light, it's durable, it's fine-grained, it resists rot.
Redwood was thought to be fire resistant because fire is such a critical part of the ecosystem of the redwood forest. They withstand fire because their bark is so thick. But it was thought that the wood itself was fire resistant. So they thought it was a super wood with which to build the homes of growing California.